This is the reading and translating, and I'll be highlighting as I go. And then up on Google Classroom, you'll have a link to the video and a link to the highlighted Gemara. Just so you know, I only have 6 colors I can highlight, so I'll have to reuse them as I go. Our Mishnah begins. Ve'eluhein shematzilin otan benafshan. These are the ones which literally this means that you save them with their life, meaning we're going with the translation that you save the victim with the life of the potential sinner, meaning that you are allowed to kill the potential sinner in order to prevent the sin. So these are the ones that you can kill to prevent. If one is chasing after their fellow to kill him, v'achar hazachar, or they're being chased, a man is chasing another man to rape them, ve'achar hana'ara hama'orasa, or a man is chasing an engaged woman or married woman in order to rape her. These 3 are all capital crimes, which also involve some sort of degradation or human victim. Aval harodef achar behema, one who's chasing after an animal, so one who's trying to commit bestiality, v'hamechalel et hashabat, and one who's trying to violate Shabbat, ve'oved avodat kochavim, or one who's about to worship idolatry. Ein matzilin otan v'nafshan. We do not save them with their life. We do not kill to prevent, which we said because these 3 have no human victim. They are all capital crimes, but they have no human victim, so we'll let Beit Din do its job. Our Gemara begins. Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught in a Braita. Minayan l'rodef achar chavero l'hargo. What is the source that if one is chasing after their fellow to kill him, shenitan lahatzilo benafsho, that you are allowed to kill him? So the Mishnah had said that you can kill to prevent murder. The Gemara asks, as the Gemara often does, what's the source for that? The Gemara answers, Talmud Lomar, sorry for the mishighlight, Lo ta'amod al dam reyecha. The Gemara responds, I'm sorry, I can't get this to highlight properly. Lo ta'amod al dam reyecha, that you don't stand by when your neighbor's blood is at stake. Don't be a bystander. The Gemara tries to say that's the source that you can kill to prevent a murder. Vaha lahachi hu da'ata, the Gemara objects, but lahachi, for this, meaning literally translated, but is the way this translates is, but is it coming for this? Meaning, is this pasuk l'tamod adam reyecha really coming to teach us about killing the murderer? Ha'mi ba'ile l'chedetanya. It's required. The Gemara, this pasuk is needed for this following Braita, following the idea that you can't use one pasuk to teach you 2 halachot. We're kind of saying that this pasuk is occupied. How is it occupied? This following Braita, Minayam l'ro'eh et chaveiro shehu tovea banahar. What is the source that if you see your friend who's drowning in a river, o chaya gorarto o listin ba'in alav, or if a wild animal is dragging him away, or bandits are coming against him, so your friend is in danger, shehu chayav lahatzilo. What is the source that you are required to save him? The Braita concludes, Talmud Lomar lo ta'amod al dam reyecha. So we see that this Braita is using this pasuk as the source that you have to save someone in danger. It's already being used for the simple obligation of saving someone in danger. It's not available to also teach us that you're allowed to kill a murderer, to kill a potential murderer. That's a big step that you need to justify. And the Gemara responds, Ein hachinami. Ein hachinami means yes, this is indeed so. You're right, this pasuk lo ta'amod al dam reyecha is occupied. It can't be the source that you're allowed to kill the murderer. So the Gemara says, Ve'ela nitan lahatzilo b'nafsho minalan. So, rather, or but, so what's the source that you are allowed to save him with his life? What's the source that you're allowed to kill the potential murderer? Minalan. So we tried lo ta'amod al dam reyecha, it didn't work because that pasuk was occupied. We respond, Atya b'kal v'chomer mina'ara hama'orasa. The source comes via a kal v'chomer, an even more so type argument that if A is true, then obviously B is true, from the case of na'ara hama'orasa. Same thing we saw in our Mishnah, the case of the rape of literally means an engaged woman, but it's talking about the rape of an engaged woman. And now we explain the kal v'chomer, we explain what is this actual even more so argument. Ma na'ara hama'orasa shaloba el likpogma. So in the case of an engaged woman, shaloba, that he only comes, meaning the sinner only comes lipogma, to degrade her, meaning that the only thing that is at stake is her degradation. That's what's at stake in this case. In that case, amrat Torah nitan lahatzilo b'nafsho. So in that case, the Torah says you're allowed to kill to to kill the sinner to save her. So if you're the first step of the argument is if you're allowed to kill to prevent the rape of a married woman, which is only a degradation issue, rodef achar chaviro lahargo al achat kama v'kama. So in the case of chasing after your fellow to kill him, in the case of murder, al achat kama v'kama, even more so, you should be able to, if you can kill to prevent rape, all the more so you can kill to prevent murder. The Gemara responds, V'chi onshin min hadin. Sorry about that. V'chi onshin min hadin. So the question is, do we punish people based on logic? So we just used a logical argument, the kal v'chomer, as the source that you are allowed to, um, the source that you are allowed to kill the murderer. Do we really, or do we punish based on logic? Logic is not a solid enough source. So we tried lo tanol damerecha, pasuk is occupied. We tried this kal v'chomer, so we can't use a kal v'chomer in this circumstance. So the Gemara responds, Debei Rebbe Tana Hekeshahu. In the Beit Midrash of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, they taught that it's not a kal v'chomer, it's a hekesh, it's a juxtaposition. That's the source. It's not a logical connection; it's a textual connection. And the Gemara explains, quoting the pasuk in the section of in the pasuk about the rape of a married woman, "Ki kasher yakum ish al re'ehu uritzacho nefesh." So, and the pasuk kein hadavar hazeh. So, the Torah says that the rape of a married woman is just like murder. That basically it said, don't punish the woman, even don't think that it's adultery because she's married, because this is just like this. This is similar to when a man gets up against his friend, and kills his life and ends his life. So we see the Torah in the Torah itself, the topics of murder and rape of a married woman are placed right next to each other, and we said a hekesh. A juxtaposition means when two topics are right next to each other, we can take one law and apply it. We can take a law from one of them and apply it to another. And what are we? And so v'chi mala madu merotzeach. And so the Gemara is wondering. So why is the Torah mentioning murder in this rape of a married woman pasuk? Me'ata hare zeba l'lamed v'nimtza lamed. So it seems like we said that this keeps messing up. So it looked like it was coming to teach us something, that it looked like murder was coming to teach us about rape, but actually nimtza lamed. At the end, rape teaches us something about murder. And it teaches us, what color are we up to? We're up to orange. Makish rotzeach l'na'ara ha'ma'orasa. We see that we're going to make a juxtaposition between murder and rape of a married woman. Just like in the rape of a married woman, you're allowed to save her by killing the rapist. So also for murder, you're allowed to kill the murderer to prevent the murder. So the source is that you're allowed to kill to prevent rape, and rape is mentioned right next to murder. So you're also allowed to kill to prevent murder. But now the Gemara wonders, orasa gufa minalan. But what is the actual source? The Gemara hasn't yet explained what the actual source is that you're allowed to kill the gufa. I mean, going back to the original topic, it's a word that we see a few times. So we've mentioned this whole time that you're allowed to kill to prevent the rape of a married woman, but minalan, what's the source that you're allowed to do that? Kiditana debe Rabbi Yishmael. So as they taught in the house of Rabbi Yishmael, like that's where we're going to find the source. The Tana debe Rabbi Yishmael, as we learn in the house of Rabbi Yishmael, the pasuk says ve'ein moshiala. The pasuk said that in the rape of a married woman, we will scroll down to where it quotes the pasuk. Ooh, that zoomed in much too much. So because the man found her in the field, she screamed out ve'ein moshiala. That in the Torah says that in this case of rape of a married woman, there is no one to save her. But that implies hayesh moshiala. If there is someone to save her, v'chol davar sheyachol lahoshia. You're able to save her in any way you can. Meaning, like you can do whatever you need to in order to save this woman, including killing. So that's the source that you're allowed to kill to prevent rape of a married woman. which then that served, once we know that, that was the source of our juxtaposition that you can kill to prevent murder. And last little bit here, worksheet 5.5. Put to green, blue. Okay, here we go. What we just did today. Gufa, going back to our original topic. Minayan leroet chaveiro shehu tovea benahar. So going back to the Gemara, to the Breita that we had seen earlier. So going back to this Breita. So you see your friend who's drowning in the river or being dragged by a wild animal or bandits are coming against him. That you're what's the source that you're obligated to save him? Chayav lachtil. Talmud Amar. The pasuk says lo ta'amod al dam re'acha. Don't be a bystander. So going back to that Breita, the Gemara now asks, "Vaha mehacha nafka mehatam nafka." Do we learn the source? Nafka means to learn it. So do we learn it? Meaning the idea that you have to save your friend. Mehacha, we learn it from here, from lo tamod dam re'acha. Mehatam nafka, we learn it from over there. Basically, we already have something that tells us you have to save someone in danger. We don't need the pasuk of lo tamod dam re'acha. And where are we going to get it from? The Gemara quotes from Baba Kama, Avedat Gufo Minayan, Talmud Lomar, Vahashevoto Lo. So it quotes this idea of Avedat Gufo. Avedat means lost. So this is like Hashavat Avedat, means when his body is lost. We learned in Bava Kama that you have not only an obligation to return lost property, you have an obligation to return a lost body, a body which is in the wrong place. You have to help it get back to where it's supposed to. Because so, and the Gemara asks, what's the source that's true? Talmud Lomar Vahashevoto Lo, and you shall return it to him, meaning you have to return his own body. So what the Gemara is saying is, we already know you have to help someone who's in the wrong situation from the law of Hashavat Avedah, which applies to a person's body as well. So why do we need lo tamod al dam re'acha? The Gemara answers, hatam, if we learned it from over there, if our source for saving someone in danger was Hashavat Avedah, Hava Amina, I would have thought Hani Mile Binafshe, that this rule of saving someone only applies when you're going to do it yourself. Hashavat Avedah, only, you don't have to hire a detective to help you do Hashavat Avedah. Your responsibility is to do what you can do, and any more than that is out. You don't have to do it. So I would have thought that saving someone is the same way. If I can save them myself, I can jump into the river, then I'll do that. But if I don't know how to swim, or they're too far away and I can't, and I'd have to hire some lifeguards, maybe I don't have to do that. As what says, aval mitrach umegar agure, but to annoy myself and to hire workers, imalo. I would have said no. If Hashavat Avedah was our source, I would have said I don't have to hire workers. Just like I don't have to hire workers to return a lost object, I also don't have to hire workers to save someone in danger. So the Gemara says kamash malan. So therefore, that it comes to teach us that lo ta'amod, we do need lo ta'amod dam re'acha, because it teaches us that you even need to spend money. You have to hire a rescue team. You have to hire cave divers or whatever experts are required in order to save the person. It's not like Hashavat Avedah, where you can just like do what you can do yourself, and more than that is there's no requirement. Lo Tamod Dam Re'acha teaches that you can if you can help, even if it means you have to hire workers, spend some money, you are required to do so. So that's this our Mishnah and this chunk of Gemara. Just a quick recap. So what's the source to kill a murderer? We tried lo tamod dam re'acha. It's occupied by saving a person who's in danger, so it can't teach us to kill a murderer. So what's the source? It's a kal v'chomer, that if you can kill to prevent rape, obviously you can kill to prevent murder. Where it says you can't use a kal v'chomer, that's a logical tool. It doesn't apply here. So Rebbe says it's a textual connection, a hekesh, because it mentions murder while talking about rape of a married woman. Why mention murder? It actually, so we thought murder was coming to teach us something. It actually we thought murder was coming to teach us about rape. Rape is actually coming to teach us about murder. That just like we have this juxtaposition, just like you're allowed to kill to prevent rape of a married woman, you're also allowed to kill to prevent murder. The Gemara said, what's the source you can kill to prevent rape of a married woman in the first place? From the words ve'ein lo shi'ala, there's no one to save her. If there is someone to save her, you can save her in any way. And we quoted this Breita again about saving someone in danger because of lo tamod dam re'acha. The Gemara asked, but why do you need that pasuk? We already know it from Avidat Gufo. We already know it because you have to return a lost object and a lost body. So we know that you have to get someone out of a tough situation. If we learned it from there, I would have thought that you could only have to help someone in danger when you're doing it yourself, but there's no obligation to hire workers. So kamash malan, therefore we need the pasuk to teach us that you're obligated to hire workers. And that is the extent of the video.